everybody, what's up? Wednesday, January 29th. January is almost over. Wow. All right, we had the Fed meeting today. Let's go over it. Let's go over the market outlook, the economy. All right, so Fed meeting today, pretty much as expected, except for a couple of little points. Number one, they did not make any rate changes, and that was expected. So the Fed funds rate stays at 1.75%. They did raise the interest on excess reserves, okay? They went from 1.55% to 1.6%, so 5 basis points on interest on excess reserves, and they did raise the repo rate from 1.45% to 1.5%, so 5 basis points on each. They did not provide any guidance with respect to their balance sheet, so they did not tell us if they were going to taper. What they did say actually is that they were going to extend their current program of the T-bill purchases and repos into the second quarter. So now it's not going to end in March. It'll end sometime in the second quarter, maybe in April. So we'll see. So that gets an extension. It may mean that we are going to see a further increase in the Fed's balance sheet, and also an increase in reserve balances in the system. And you know, I've been talking about that for well over a year, and the impact that has on banks and their asset mix and all that other stuff. The market was up pretty strong early, all right, and it resumed this pattern of a strong opening and during the day, and then it gave back. Well, it gave back after the Fed meeting. But last night, Apple's earnings, I mean, a very strong earnings, but the stock was only up 2%, but that was a new high in Apple. But as I said, the market gave back all of its gains. We continue to be sellers of rallies. And of course, this is based on what I am seeing is an increase in the evidence that the economy is slowing down. You know, I pointed to a number of things, or I have been pointing to a number of things. Credit demand, loans and leases, the growth rate in loans and leases, petroleum markets, petroleum demand, fuel demand, and also what I have been talking about, and I'm the only one who's been talking about this, is the reverse stabilizer effect, where now tax flows from the private sector, we call it the non-government, tax flows from the non-government to the government are occurring faster than the spending flows from the government to the non-government. So while spending is on an all-time high record pace, the growth rate, right? The rate at which that spending is happening, those flows, if you think of it as, you know, a river flowing or water flowing, that is slowing down. If you think of a water flowing into a swimming pool, filling it up, and that water level, or the water in there, is the income. The rate at which it's filling up is slowing down. If it stalls out, you know, and a good way to look at this is to just take a snapshot, a reading of the deficit. And you know, I could do that on a daily basis. By the way, if any of you bought my Understanding the Daily Treasury Statement course, you know, it's only $99 on my website. I mean, you could track the deficit on a day-to-day basis. Why is it that I always come out with the number a week or 2 weeks before it's announced in the press? Is because I see the data's on the Daily Treasury Statement every single day. If you know how to calculate it, you could track that thing real time every single day. At 4 o'clock, the numbers come out. You could have that, you know, right on your fingertips. I mean, this is part of what I'm talking about in the sense of having the right information and having the right understanding. I teach people how to do this. These are useful tools. I mean, this puts you so ahead of Wall Street, of anyone, you know, in the financial community. any analyst, anybody. Nobody's looking at this stuff. Nobody's looking at this stuff. This is all publicly available, free information that the government puts out. You have to know where to get it. You have to know how to, which numbers to look at, and how to make these very simple calculations off of these numbers, off of deposits. That daily treasury statement is a wealth of information. That is literally the checkbook of the United States government. That shows you all the deposits and all the withdrawals, just like your own checkbook. So you see all the money coming in every single day and all the money going out every single day, and every single line item of expenditure and every single line item of deposit. I mean, you can't get it. You talk about, if you want to talk about inside information, I mean, you can't get any better inside information than that. And it's all totally legal and public information. I mean, you literally have at your fingertips these financial flows amounting to billions, tens of billions, sometimes hundreds of billions on a daily basis. I mean, I spoke about this many times. When I was a floor trader, I mean, we would do anything possible to get to know the big brokers in the pit down on the floor, because we'd want to know what their orders are. If they were going to be big buyers at a certain price or big sellers at a certain price, we'd want to know, because we would jump in front of that, or we would position ourselves in front of that. So you know what the government's going to do, having the access to these numbers and this information. Anyway, whatever. It's up to you guys. I know a lot of you guys, you want to stay in the dark. I know a lot of you want to stay in the dark, and you want to draw lines on charts, and you want to pretend that that means anything when, you got, if you think about it, I mean, you got these firms, these algo firms, paying millions and millions of dollars, in some cases tens of millions of dollars, to put their servers, their computers as close as possible to the New York Stock Exchange, or in the New York Stock Exchange, or by the CME out in Illinois, to front run orders that are coming down the system. And they're paying millions and millions of dollars when you got this stuff for free. I mean, there's no order that's bigger than what the federal government of the United States does on a daily basis. There's no order bigger than that. On a monthly basis, on a yearly basis, all of that stuff is at your fingertips. You want to stay in the dark? Stay in the dark. That's up to you. All right, another point that I want to make is that an interesting item here on those on the fiscal side. Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Programs. It's nicknamed SNAP, S-N-A-P. What is it? It's really food stamps, okay? That's a big, big program, all right? Since the beginning of this year, since January, and I would say in the last 10 or 15 days, that has seen a very precipitous drop in the amount of payments compared to last year. So, in other words, those payments for food stamps, and there have been cuts to the program, and they're really starting to show up now, because the year-over-year difference, we're now $3 billion below where we were at the same time last year. So what does that mean? Less money, less government support for food purchases. That's going to affect supermarkets. That's going to affect chains like Walmart and Target. Okay, when people have less support to buy food, they're going to ration the purchases of other consumer items in favor of food. You got to eat, right? So, I mean, that is going to have an effect. This all factors into what I was talking about. You got these tax flows moving to the government, so the government's sucking money out faster than it's pumping it in. That rate, we're starting to hit the inflection point. That was not the case for years, all right? It was going out into the non-government. The flows were getting pumped in to the private economy much faster than the taxes were being taken out. So the result of that was, think of that swimming pool again. The water level kept going up and up and up. And now, that's it. It may start coming down. That's big. That is big, big, big. Anyway, you got to learn all about this stuff. You have to know, and of course you have to have the mental game, because even if you have this information and you want to trade and invest and you don't have the mental game, I mean, you're not going to make any money. But that's what I help people with. Go to my website. The link is right here in the description. pitbulleconomics.com and sign up for a 30-day free trial of MMT Trader. See everybody tomorrow. Bye-bye.